Alright, so remove the antenna. Antenna mod on a Hubsan transmitter. This transmitter is for the H501s drone, quadcopter. But you can do this on a lot of different transmitters, especially from Hubsan. This is specific to Hubsan, but you can do this on other transmitters. Now, I have two controllers here. One I've modded, one that's not modded. So I'm going to jump back and forth a little bit so that I don't have to mod my non-modded transmitter, but I will show you some of the information just like what would be in yours. So, okay, so once you take the 4 screws out of the back, pop that off. You'll be looking at the back of the board. Now, already people are probably asking, well, this looks like AA's, and what's over here? Well, that's a buck converter. And I don't want to get way off on subjects, but you can look on our battery mod video for that. But that allows us to control voltage so we don't have to use AA's. Now, these are the OEM antennas. This is the 5.8 side. This is the 2.4 side. Now, if you're looking at it from the front, you have to remember which side's what. So 2.4 would be on the right side. 5.8 will be on the left side. 5.8's over by your goggles connection. The 2.4 is over by your SD and USB. Okay. You don't want to get those swapped when you buy your antennas or collect your antennas for the mod, if you're doing both or either way. Okay, so the easiest thing to do is to get your connections. You can get them out of routers. You can buy them online. There's a lot of ways that you can get the parts that you're going to need to do this mod. There is no soldering necessary. I do recommend a couple things. Some hot glue. You can use something else, but hot glue is really good for removing in the future. And you're going to use the hot glue to hold your connectors on, so they don't pop off in the future, because the small connector that the IPEX connector that connects to the board here is quite easily able to pop off if it's not just really held on there quite well. Even then they'll pop off. So that's why it's going to be easy to do the mod. Now you're going to pick up some connections, and you're going to just need a few parts. This aside for a second. The parts you're going to need are some SMA connectors. Now, could be reverse polarity SMAs, which is RP-SMA, or could be SMA. Now, the only thing that's going to change that is, the only thing that has to be identical is the back end that goes to the board. They have to have these IPEX connectors otherwise it won't work. And these are U.F.L. IPEX 1.13s. So they're really, really small. Okay. Now you can buy kits too. I'll put some links. You can get them from AliExpress. It's about $20 right now at the current time. You can also pick them up on sale for about $10 from time to time. You can pick these things up on eBay. They're just little cables that do conversions, and that's all we're doing is just trying to convert to be able to get over to some other antennas. Now, at the board, you have an IPEX connector, like we were saying. That's what goes on here. You want to get some small links. It depends on where you're going. But as small as these are, we're not going to have a whole lot of loss going that distance. I pulled most of these things out of old routers and wireless routers and access points. Now, what you want to be careful about is when you're picking your antennas, there's a couple things. Reverse SMA, reverse polarity SMA. Please look at some of the pictures here. The end connector doesn't have a center conductor. It's recessed, so that means the antenna, if you try to put this antenna on this connector, there won't be a center conductor that would touch. If you put it onto this one like that is proper, then your center conductor would touch, this would work. But if you put it on the wrong, if you bought this and you grabbed one off of a 2.4 or 5.8 gigahertz antenna and you didn't look at the connector, they will go together, but they're not going to transmit. So it'd be like not even having an antenna on there, because you will not have your center conductor. So don't mess that up. Make sure you buy RP-SMA females or SMA males for the deal. There's a real easy reference. It's not hard. Just look at the connectors, look at your antennas, whichever one you have, and compare them. The other thing is, why we want to know is we don't want to put a 5.8 either or a 2.4 gig antenna. They're different lengths. There's plenty of YouTube and write-ups about all of the difference in antennas and how to convert 5.8s to 2.4 gig. But we're not getting into that today. You can go and look that and research that yourself. So pick you up a few of these. They run a couple bucks. You can get them out locally sometimes. You can make them. There's a lot of different ways. So I'll put a few links in the comments. When you're looking at the back, to remove the OEM antennas, you'll have to remove these IPEX connectors. This is for the FPV, which is for the video, LCD view, first person view. This is strictly for controlling and telemetry coming back from the drone, the 2.4 gig side. I'm doing the mod so that I get distance, but I also get reliability. The controller has a really decent range. Stated it's about 300 meters. We've seen 1,000 meters plus, about a kilometer. So we don't think you necessarily have to do this. We do get some static on the FPV side. That's why a lot of people just add a panel antenna. This is a 5.8, 11 dB. This is 2.4, 11 dB. Okay. These are what we'll use to do the mod. Now, you can pick these up for $4 or $5 online. These are more directional, so that I can get a little bit longer range and still see all of my video signal without a whole lot of dropouts or static. And I do my 2.4 for the fact that I don't want to have any chance of any interference as much, and I can also I fly looking at where my drone went, so that helps, and I can get the distance. But reliability of this, if something gets in front of me, I have a good chance of still getting a good strong signal to my drone. Well, on the back, let's start with by moving. This goes along. I know I've done a lot of talking, but to actually do this takes no time at all. You'll need a drill bit. I think this is like 64/15ths or something. You will need a drill bit for this. Maybe a small tool. You could also use a small flathead. A lot of times just a long fingernail or a good pinch. But what you want to do is remove an IPX connector. And the easiest, just kind of grab at the base. You don't want to pull on it. You want to yank. You don't want to pull off at an angle. You want to kind of pull straight up. And so you kind of use 2 points to kind of lift it up and off. So I like to grab at the bottom, at the base, and it won't hurt if I put a little leverage on this because this connector doesn't take much force. And I just kind of lift at the same time I leverage that off. And I just work on the corner. And making it look all difficult. Off it comes. I just try to be real gentle. You can see these connectors are really small, guys. So be easy with them. And that's also when you're replacing them. You'll want to put that on back really nice and straight and flat. So you pop that off. You cut your little glue that they put on. Take that out. You'll do the same thing on this side. You'll take that out. And then the next step is to drill our holes, and we're going to use the capped off or little areas where possible antennas should be or could be. So I'm going to jump over to the audio modified controller, and then so I have this side already completed. I did just set the antennas, the OEM antennas, back in here so you could kind of see where everything was. Again, taking out the 2.4. I already have this all done. Now, you will probably not have this lead coming off of your connector. Now, that goes down to a ground point that's down here. I just happen to have some really nice cables that have a shield ground, and so I just go ahead and take it to an extra solder point. You're not going to have that more than likely. You don't need it. You do ground here. It's just the more ground the better. So let's go ahead and start over here on the 5.8. So same thing like we just did. Reach down. Just going to leverage that off. Just take your time with it. It'll come off. Again, cut all that around and take this out. Now hold on to these. You can always use them somewhere else. Now that we've done that, we need to take our drill bit, and we need to find a drill bit that's about the same outer diameter as our antenna connection. If you don't have something pretty, you can use a little wallering, or shave a little off. I had to do that a little bit with this one. So you're going to get your drill. You're going to drill wherever you're wanting to place. You can do the side. You can do the front. Some people even do the back. I've done the top. Do that on both sides. Once you get that done, you're going to take your connector. This one. Okay. I have to make sure it matches my antennas. take, a lot of times they should come with their rings. They should also come with a little keeper. Let's see, I got one in here. Once you have your hole the right size, this should. You just want to get a little push. Now, at first, your plastics around that, if you drilled it in that center, they may not exactly fit, but if the first time you cinch this down, it'll spread that plastic around and allow that nut kind of to go up in there really tight. I made that look easy by just wiggling it. But the first time you could just get a little thread and then you could use your nut to kind of do the squish. So put your lock, put your nut, and I just ran mine on this side. You can run it on either side. Push up as you work, and then just give those a little bit of few twirls, and like I said, after a little while it'll start pulling that in and it'll get pretty tight. There you go. And you don't have to over tight it, just snug it. And take your wire and put your connector. And this is where you want to make sure that this is nice and flat. Everything's even before you try to push it down. Okay? If you need to, you can use a flat screwdriver and kind of push it, but I prefer just do this. Oh, there we go. So when you get it square, it goes on pretty easy. I wasn't really pressing, I just was trying to get it squared up, and then once it will, it'll just go right on. Now, because that's so easy to come off, that's why we dab hot glue. That's really all we recommend. Keep those on. You can also use a little hot glue if you want to put this off out of the way. You got one that's maybe 4 inches like this. You can get them 2 or 3 inches long. But the length, you don't want to get something that's 20 feet long, of course. That's going to be a lot of loss. And you can get these little cheap, a couple bucks. Alright guys, now the only thing left is to pick your antenna. Now, we flip this over. Remember, 5/8 on the goggle side, 2.4 is going to be on the right side SD card of the LCD. Now, I know I pulled these off of, you know, a 2.4. This is a 2.4 Omni or Yagi or Rubber Ducky. Then you do have panels. Now, this is a neck gear, but this is a 5.8 panel. I think it's about 9 dB. And this is another same. Now this one, this is a 2.4, and it's another same thing. Rubber Ducky, Omni, etc. Now what I like I said, if I was going to be flying around my head, and even then I don't seem to have a real problem with these panels, unless I was getting past, I don't know, 100 meters. Then I need to really start kind of aiming my antennas at where I'm headed. These move on a lot of axes, so it's real easy to still be looking off the direction I want, and all I have to do is turn my antenna to aim, you know, wherever I need it to go. So I don't have to be necessarily staring if I'm flying behind. So the 2.4. like I said, I picked these all both up for under. I got them both for less than $10 together. I had to order them a couple different places, but you can use almost any extra gain antenna and get a lot of distance and reliability. All right, guys. So all you need to do, like I said, add the hot glue, and then put your case on, put your back on, go test it.